you've written a number of great books, Eye to Eye. You wrote a book on the Obama administration. I think you're working on an update of Eye to Eye, aren't you?
Yes, on Trump's first term and the challenges that he faced with his peace to prosperity deal and also the Abraham Accords and the things that happened around that time.
Well, speaking of peace to prosperity deals
Yeah.
and the Abraham Accords, did you see the articles today in Israel Hayom or Times of Israel about what's been discussed with Trump and Netanyahu?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so what are you? I'm gonna put up a screen that shows it, but then I'm gonna let you guys talk about what is going on. What does this mean? And in light of what you've said all these years about dividing the land of Israel, are we in a bad spot with all of this? Go ahead.
Well, technically, John, yes. You know, during the negotiations, I'll put it this way: January 28, 2020, President Trump delivered his Peace to Prosperity plan that Jared Kushner had been working on. And I wrote a commentary, Life in America Before January 28, in the favor that President Trump had to life in America after he put a plan together and posted his two-state map on Twitter. And within a few hours, we had a 7.7 earthquake shake the Miami financial district. And that afternoon, Peter Navarro warned of a crisis coming to America called COVID, and that we needed to do something. 1 million lives, $3.5 trillion cost to the economy. But anyhow, it was a very difficult, from that point forward, President Trump, the favor that was on President Trump had diminished greatly. And then during the summer, when they were negotiating on the Abraham Accords, every time Kushner was working hard on the Accords, we would have these record-setting hurricanes. He'd back off, everything would calm. He'd go forward again, everything would get intense again. And even on September 15, 2020 at the White House, when the Abraham Accords was signed, a hurricane called Sally slammed into the southern Gulf Coast. Sally's
This is going to be a very I think a very rough spot for us as we go through these things, that they're trying to reconstitute the Abraham Accord, or they're trying to revive Trump's Peace to Prosperity plan, which Bill has written about extensively. And if we get him back, I'll ask him to comment on that. And we are in the Abraham Accords, the expansion of the Abraham Accords. There is an organization, you should look it up. It's called Abraham Shield, abrahamshield.org. And you can go there. It's a group of security experts, some of whom I've interviewed in the past, former heads of INSS, which is Israel National Security and Strategy. It's a think tank. And it's a little bit, a lot of them believe that there could be a Palestinian state. But I think the most troubling thing of what I'm seeing in the, here we go. Okay, I think I have you back.
Okay, great.
It's okay. That's the wonders of doing, the stress of doing live feeds and that type of thing. And as you do more and more live feeds, as we're encouraging you to do, you'll get to experience that stress firsthand. So it'll build character in both of you. But so Bill, I was talking a little bit about the what's going on with Trump and Netanyahu, and it appears to me, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it appears to me that this is a really big push to revive the Peace to Prosperity plan that Trump put forth in his first administration.
Yes.
So talk about that a little bit. I mean, I know you wrote on this. Just sort of summarize for us what happened when this peace and prosperity plan was introduced at the White House in January of 2020.
Well, John, I wrote a commentary, Life in America Before January 28 and Life After President Trump introduced his Peace to Prosperity plan. He put a Palestinian, he put a map on the internet that showed two states, Israel's and the Palestinian. No president had ever put a map together on a future Palestinian state. Even his chief of staff, I talked to Mark Meadows and I said, Mark, you know, this is covenant land. This is God's covenant land. No president, no one has the right to divide this land. He said, well, we didn't think they'd take the deal anyhow. But what happened, John, is from that point, from the time that he put his plan together and he put his map on Twitter, 65 million people around the world that are on his Twitter site saw a future Palestinian state map. And then a 7.7 earthquake shook the Miami financial district within a few hours of his map going up. And then Peter Navarro warned the White House that afternoon that a major crisis was coming to America called the coronavirus. And he said it would cost 1 million lives and $3.5 trillion. Well, Fauci and the health secretary, Azar, laughed him off. And so the next day, Navarro put it in print. And the negotiations during the summer for the Abraham Accords, every time Kushner was pushing hard on the Abraham Accords, we were having hurricanes start immediately and within 7 days becoming record-setting in size. Exactly the time he was pushing on the Abraham Accords. And there was like 4 or 5 major hurricanes that summer, record-setting. And the point here is it continued the two-state narrative. It stopped the rightful extension of sovereignty to 134 Jewish communities. And and all the world leaders that were pressuring Israel, don't dare annex that land if you do, because it'll cost you. It's Palestinian land, it's not your land. So within 6 weeks of Trump delivering his peace plan, and almost every major leader in the world says, no, we have our two-state plan. Trump has his, we have ours. Almost 3 billion people were in lockdown worldwide. Was there connection? I don't know, but it was very strange timing. And the big concern that we had is whether President Trump will get reelected or not. And unfortunately, COVID put people into vote by mail. There was a lot of alleged fraud with the machines, paper ballots showing up, and it ended up costing President Trump the election. So once again, if he starts pushing the Abraham Accords and it has anything to do with the covenant land of Israel, there will be consequences.
So, so we're seeing this revive right now as we speak.
Today.
And so what, I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
Tony, you've been watching this very closely.
I think they're going to sign a deal, and I hope that the Lord shall intervene, because Steve Witkoff, and I have written a lot about him, until now, everything that he tries does not succeed. So I'm hoping for, but at the same time, we see that it seems that he is like an instrument of the Lord to put that in place, President Trump. And doing that, I think it's going to be, the deal here was about Israel. The trade about Israel. And everything was coordinated, what happened, the beautiful B-12, the beautiful war, and that Khomeini could not go away. Everything was coordinated by Qatar. And it seems that it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think, John, I wrote about this when the Abraham Accords came out in the summer of 2020. I said, I didn't favor because it stopped extension of sovereignty. At the same time, I said, will this lead to the Bible's Daniel 9:27 covenant? Will this lead to the final covenant? And for us that are watchmen, and right now, President Trump has a very distinctive role in Bible prophecy, like most of our presidents have, especially back to George W. Bush's father, Bill Clinton, George Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden, and now Trump again. He has a very significant biblical position. So the question is, will there be consequences if he continues this path? And number two, will this lead to the Bible's final day covenant of Daniel 9:27, or at least lead up to it?
But it seems that Bibi is very much involved in this deal. And I consider that he traded Israel for the problems that he's having, and he's going to be in trial in 2 weeks. So I think the consequence can be huge.
And with that shift into catastrophism, I've often said that most mantle heaving will not be able to be predicted, up or down, with the exception of Africa. That one pretty clearly knows what it's going to do and has eagerly been cracking the crust and pushing up and out. A new study is describing a detailed look at that mantle upwelling coming off the top of the African LLSVP. The scientists didn't really mince words. It's going to break open Africa at some point and let the oceans rush in. Most likely timetable from a catastrophism standpoint is during the disaster event coming in the next 2 decades.